the thing about it, you say started fat and bone, that's fee-based. Started organics recycling, that's a fee added to buy load. Okay, we reduced trash pickups, that's a reduction. We expanded this in 3 stores because we need more data points. You know, so we haven't implemented. We hadn't said we're going to go and roll this out to buy load. So we say let's get some more data points and understand the cause and effect and how we can move forward. But the challenge for us has been getting the fees and the reductions to match up. So any of you guys that do support services for retailers or hospitals or colleges or anything of that nature, and Amazon, if you want to go in and sell them a process or facilitate a process for them, you got to go in there with a proven and vetted way to save that company at least the expense you're going to add to that business. Or it's going to be difficult, especially in these times. So,
who does your organics recycling?
Who does it? Viridian. Yep. And the spelling of that is on the next page.
Are you in North Carolina?
Yes.
So there's composting companies like McGill and others there. Do y'all contract for any services from composters who would provide a pickup versus a digester? Like
that's what Viridian does.
Oh, okay.
They do a pickup, and what they would most likely do would be to contract with some of those folks. They'll do some things down in Georgia where they're located. They do some contracts with pig farmers, and then they'll do contracts with composters, states that have composting programs. And South Carolina has a lot of permits right now.
We're trying to get the regulation.
We need it, and it's coming. It's coming. And I also put on here 8-yard container. That's a little bit of forward-looking. We're at a 4-yard now. I think that's a 4-yard, and we're going to double that to see if we could actually go maybe a little more than once a week pickups to reduce that cost of Viridian, because you know there's a cost there. Because I'm steadily saying it's got to be lower, and I've been really transparent because quite honestly there's no competition, so I can say here are my costs. You know, here's what it costs me to do this business. If I could tell Britain, you know, the premium that Recover pays me for OCC, then she'd obviously be willing to probably top that. We can't do that part of it, but when you look at something that doesn't exist today, we can be a good partner and say, here's the model. Here's what we have to overcome. And Viridian's trying hard, but they have expenses associated with trucks, containers, and obviously the pickup of the organics. Same challenge you'll see with the digester. There's going to be the cost you have to vet and say, what do you do, how does this work, and what's the ROI? I'm not going to talk a lot longer, because it's already been more than 30 minutes. Mercy goodness. So I'll go through the reuse part. You know, somebody asked if we have the selection of supplies. We implemented an environmentally friendly soap pad. A lot of you guys may not even know what a soap pad is. That's the little pad that's in the bottom of your meat trays that soaks up the purge from your pork chops and your beef. Well, the environmentally friendly part of that's the filling. The content is now 100% recycled content. And those are the metrics they say that by implementing that at BioLab is going to save. If you look at SCA America, SCA at one time was the second, if not the greenest company in the world. But we also deploy their paper towels and tissue in BioLab, and their paper towels are Green Seal certified 100% recycled content. And there's the metrics and things they say that we save by implementing that in 207 stores. And then, you know, I told you this was an operations update. This is exactly what I ask of the RVPs for the company. There's 3 RVPs in this organization. And I said, you know, our item per bag numbers at BioLab are at record highs. We have decreased our plastic bag usage by about 40 million bags while increasing our sales, increasing our items. I've called that out earlier, but you can read that. But our sales are up and our bag usage is down. Now part of that is more people are using reusable bags. Part of it is the incentive we give our teammates for using bags properly. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. We talked about the innovative, yes ma'am?
How much does a plastic bag cost?
About 1.42 cents. Maybe 1.4 now, but you know, it moves with resin per bag. And then in relation, how does that compare to a paper bag? A paper bag costs about a nickel. On average, you know, give or take half a cent. Mixed paper we talked about. The thing that's innovative about that, I've got lots of people that come to my door and say, we'll take that paper from you. Be glad to take that paper from you. We'll come to your store and pick it up for $35. So I can't do that, my friends. Just can't do it. So the process we have now is we box that paper up, we send that paper back to PRC, that acronym we talked about earlier. and then Recover takes it away from us. Now I know what they're doing on the back end. They're separating that mix from that paper, right? That bond paper. That right there paper brings a lot of money. And that's completely up to them. We can't have 40 different streams in Violet. Wouldn't it be nice if we just do single stream recycling and say, bam, put it all in one bin and let it go? I've seen some neat things. I went to a waste conference in Dallas, Texas. Anybody go to that? You there? I saw things where this stuff rolls down the line and it reads it and air poofs it based on what it is. And it separates that stuff out. I said, that is so cool. But that's certainly, for a Merc, not a Violet. But it was still pretty nice to see. And then, of course, our waste diversion efforts are paying off. I had Republic do a rationalization on our pickups. Now remember, I told you, our sales are up. Our comps are up significantly in Violet, but we're getting ready to reduce our trash pickups by 81. And that's just based on tons, based on data from Republic says you can do this without issue. And we say it's because of the fat and bone in 35 stores, and it's at 5.5 tons of paper. And we're convinced that if we can get some sort of organics composting going on, that we can take it down even more, a lot, as a matter of fact. And the sad thing is, and if Republic's here, I tell them that Republic's not doing anything about it. I mean, it's their business to lose, and they need to be getting into composting, and they're not. So what do? They partner with a company called Quest. Well, Quest, they partner with companies like Meridian. And y'all hear about all them partners, you got to realize you got too many partners in there now, and especially if they got their hand out. I'm just shooting from the hip here, guys. I tell you like it is. Come off and talk to me the same way. They're right, Britt.
That's right.
So I'm jumping into a section that I didn't tell y'all in the beginning, but by now you have figured it out. I am not an expert on anything, quite honestly. I know a little bit about a lot of things, but I'm passionate about sustainability. I'm passionate about doing the right things, and I'm excited to be able to manage that process for Violet. But there are certainly areas like energy. We got a guy named Jeremy Angel. He's doing that. That's all he does is energy, and manages the energy piece for Violet. And how can he reduce that usage? And I'm not going to read this presentation to you because, first of all, it might sound like I'm speaking in Spanish. I hope it didn't offend anybody, so I'll say German too. But some of the things that somebody asked me, what about lighting? Well, we've updated 50 stores from CFLs to LED. CFL, everybody, I think, contact fluorescent lamps. They did do this. Is his update. I didn't change it. Look at the wattage reduced from 22,000 to 13,000 watts, and you also increase the life of the bulb. So and then he calls out the carbon dioxide offset for each of these initiatives. Retrofitted 1,786 fixtures in 17 stores with LED case lighting. That is. Somebody asked me, are we doing that in our dairy cases? We are in our remodels, and we have done a few retros. But that, again, guys, that's one of those things. It's really nice. It really looks good. And it is really expensive to retro a case. It really is. How about pre-release? So, but LED lighting, they go in and relamp a store, makes a tremendous amount of difference with the power bill and the reduction in kilowatts. Heat reclaiming. If you've ever walked in our stores and walked down a dairy or frozen aisle, and you're kind of cold, and you said, even in July, it's kind of nippy. It's because somebody would talk about you're losing that air because it'd be nice to have the doors. And then you walk to this spot and you feel this warm air hitting you. Well, that's where they've done some heat reclaiming and moving air around the stores. And they do it through that. And then, of course, I'm not going to talk about all the uses because it's getting kind of late. But here's a couple of studies on a couple of our stores, store 211 and store 178. But the air mitigation and the things they do there to save energy through air pairs and destratification just helps us save even more power. And then again, if you guys don't know what stratification is or destratification is, there's the definition of it. But these are things, quite honestly, I didn't know these guys were doing. I knew about the LED lights in the dairy case. I knew about some of the retros from high intensity discharge lighting to LED, but I didn't know about some of the other initiatives they've had going on. And really, the slide that summed it all up for us is, they seal in case. I talked about the 6 stores we've done with dairy cases, and just like you would at home, we've sealed up cracks in the walls. And the thing that's important to me is that summary, is that